The evidence in this one is hard to forget. The family was the first suspect. The case destroyed them. On the morning after Christmas 1996, Patsy Ramsey called police in Boulder, Colorado to report that her 6-year-old daughter JonBenét, a child beauty queen, was missing and that she had found a ransom note. Hours later, JonBenét's father John found her body in the basement of the family home. She had been strangled. That's the part investigators still can't fully explain. Send this. Follow for more cases. This really happened and they almost got away with it. Everyone told her she was overreacting. A teenage babysitter was watching 2 young children when she started to feel that something was wrong. She could not explain it. The house was quiet, the kids were asleep, and nothing obvious was out of place. But she kept hearing faint sounds and noticed that a window she was sure had been locked was now slightly open. That's the part that keeps this one unsolved in people's minds. Follow for a new case daily. This is one of the most chilling cases on record. The note they left made no sense. In August 1966, a young boy flying a kite on a hill in Brazil discovered the bodies of 2 well-dressed men lying side by side in a remote field. Each wore a formal suit and a lead mask covering their eyes, the kind used for radiation protection. Beside them was a water bottle and a small notebook. The area showed no signs of struggle. I still think about how close they came to getting away with it. Tag a true crime fan. Follow. This really happened and they almost got away with it. No one could identify him. The code was never broken. In December 1948, a well-dressed unidentified man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. He had no identification. His clothing labels had been removed. He showed no obvious cause of death. Tag a true crime fan. Follow. This is the case that changed how they investigate. He carried the secret for 40 years before he finally spoke. For 40 years, a violent crime in a small town remained unsolved. The community had long since stopped expecting answers, and the victim's family had learned to live with the painful silence. Then an elderly man, nearing the end of his life, asked to speak with someone he trusted. That's the part investigators still can't fully explain. Watch the first line again. It explains everything. What investigators found makes no sense. The most prolific uncaught criminal in California was found through a genealogy website. Between 1974 and 1986, a man committed at least 13 murders and over 50 assaults across California. He was so methodical that investigators gave him 3 different names before realizing they were all the same person. He would study his victims for weeks, learn their routines, and disable their phone lines before striking. Then, in 1986, he simply stopped. That's the part that keeps this one unsolved in people's minds. Go back and watch how this started. What investigators found makes no sense. The only witness lived. Decades later, he was put on trial for the murders he survived. In 1960, 4 teenagers went camping beside a quiet lake in Finland. During the night, someone attacked their tent. By morning, 3 of them were dead, and the 4th, a young man, survived with serious injuries. He had little memory of the attack. The case shocked the entire country and launched one of the largest investigations in Finnish history. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This is one of the most chilling cases on record. Her body was found perfectly posed. That was the point. In January 1947, the body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was found in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. She had been bisected at the waist, completely drained of blood, and posed with surgical precision on the grass. Her arms raised above her head and her face cut into a wider smile from the corners of her mouth. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. Nobody saw the ending of this one coming. He parachuted out of a plane with $200,000 and vanished. On the day before Thanksgiving in 1971, a man using the alias Dan Cooper boarded a flight from Portland to Seattle. Midway through the flight, he passed a note to a flight attendant claiming he had a bomb. He showed her what appeared to be explosive components in his briefcase and made a simple demand: $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This really happened and they almost got away with it. It changed how every product in the world is packaged. The person responsible was never found. In the autumn of 1982, people in the Chicago area began dying suddenly and without explanation. A 12-year-old girl, a young postal worker, a new mother. At first the deaths seemed unconnected, but investigators soon found the terrifying link. Each victim had recently taken a popular over-the-counter pain medication. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This is one of the most chilling cases on record. He retired, but he never stopped. He kept the case files in his home for decades. Some cases never let go of the people who work them. When a string of unsolved crimes terrorized a region for years and then went cold, most of the investigators eventually moved on, transferred, or retired. But one detective could not. Even after leaving the force, he kept copies of the case files in his own home. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. What investigators found makes no sense. A routine renovation uncovered what someone thought would never be found. A crew was hired to renovate an old property, tearing out a concrete patio in the backyard to make way for a new addition. It was routine work, the kind they did every week. But as they broke through the old concrete and dug into the soil beneath, they uncovered human remains that had clearly been there for a very long time. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This really happened and they almost got away with it. Police couldn't get his DNA legally, so they sent an undercover detective to a birthday party. In South Los Angeles, a killer operated for nearly 25 years. He earned the nickname the Grim Sleeper because of an apparent 14-year gap in his murders, though investigators later suspected he never really stopped. He preyed on vulnerable women in a community that, for years, felt the police were not taking the disappearances seriously. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. Nobody saw the ending of this one coming. He radioed in distress and then simply ceased to exist. In October 1978, 20-year-old Frederick Valentik took off from Melbourne, Australia for a routine 90-minute flight. About halfway through the journey, he radioed air traffic control and reported that a large aircraft with 4 bright lights was following him at close range. He described it as orbiting above him, not an aircraft he recognized. Air traffic control confirmed no known aircraft was in the area. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. Nobody saw the ending of this one coming. He thought he was untouchable. A single computer file proved him wrong. For 3 decades, a killer terrorized Wichita, Kansas. He called himself BTK, which stood for the way he killed his victims. He murdered at least 10 people and then went silent for years. What made him different from other killers was his ego. He wrote letters to the police and the media, mocking them for failing to catch him. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This is one of the most chilling cases on record. He had no idea his own phone was broadcasting everything. A man had abducted a victim and was driving to a remote location, believing he was completely in control of the situation. What he did not realize was that, at some point during the struggle, his phone in his pocket had accidentally dialed the emergency line. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. Nobody saw the ending of this one coming. He forgot he bought something on the way. A man told investigators he had been home alone all night during the hours a crime was committed across town. He had no witnesses, but he insisted firmly and consistently that he never left his house. Without evidence to contradict him, his alibi was difficult to disprove, and the case against him was going nowhere. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This really happened and they almost got away with it. Jurors wept and one had to leave the room. The evidence was a single cassette tape. In 1979, 2 men in California committed a series of crimes so brutal that even hardened detectives struggled to discuss them. They drove around in a van, targeting young women, and they made one catastrophic decision that would guarantee their conviction. They recorded part of one crime on a cassette tape. They believed it was a trophy, something private they could keep. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. This is one of the most chilling cases on record. He typed the ransom note carefully, but one word gave him away. In a tense kidnapping case, the only direct communication from the perpetrator was a typed ransom note. He had been careful, using a generic font, wearing gloves, and avoiding anything that could obviously identify him. Investigators had almost nothing to go on, but linguists and detectives studied the note word by word, because the way a person writes, the phrases they choose, and even their mistakes can act like a fingerprint. One particular misspelling and an unusual turn of phrase stood out as distinctive and personal. But that was not even the disturbing part. As the investigation narrowed to a short list of suspects, detectives obtained writing samples, work emails, and personal notes from each person of interest. One suspect's writing contained the exact same unusual misspelling and the same distinctive phrasing found in the ransom note, a quirk specific enough that it was extremely unlikely to be coincidence. Combined with other circumstantial evidence, that linguistic match became a key part of the case against him. He had disguised his font and hidden his fingerprints, but he could not disguise the way his own mind put words together. The habits of his writing betrayed him. Send this to a true crime fan. Follow for daily cases. What investigators found makes no sense. Hundreds of desperate men answered the ad. Only the lucky ones were turned away. In 2011, a job advertisement appeared online offering work on a remote farm in Ohio. The pay was good. The job included free housing and the chance to care for cattle on 300 acres of land. For men who were down on their luck, recently divorced or struggling to find work, it sounded like a fresh start. Hundreds of people responded. The man who posted the ad would interview applicants carefully, looking for a very specific type of victim, men who were single, transient, and unlikely to be immediately missed by anyone. But that was not even the disturbing part. The man behind the ad was a serial killer using the promise of employment to lure isolated victims to a secluded location. He nearly got away with it. But one intended victim survived being shot and escaped through the woods, despite being wounded, and made it to a road where he flagged down help. His description led police to the killer and his 16-year-old accomplice. Investigators discovered the bodies of multiple men who had answered the ad, hoping only for honest work. The survivor's testimony was the case. Had he not found the strength to run while injured, the killer might have continued posting ads and interviewing the desperate for years. Send this to a true crime fan and follow for a new case every day.